Let's get an update from what's going on in the concerning areas on the ground. I'm joined on the line by Glen Preston. He's Operations Manager for Med-Evac EMS. Glen, good evening to you. Could you just tell us, this evening, where are rescue and recovery operations concentrated?
Hi, good evening. At the moment, the Southern KZN rescue teams have been busy since about midnight last night, evacuating people from their houses. Disaster management teams were quite proactive, so our commonly flooded areas were evacuated earlier in the evening. However, there were certain areas that they weren't able to access. We've had quite a few landslides and roads and bridges washed away. At this stage, we've cleared out all the patients, or all the people that were stuck in areas where they were at risk of being washed away or stuck in their houses in rising floodwaters. Currently, our roads teams are all out busy trying to get roads cleared and open to allow access again to the areas.
Just explain a little bit about how you coordinate your efforts with other rescue teams. Med-Evac, I would imagine those are clients who need a medical evacuation, but in a time like this, I would imagine that changes somewhat.
That's correct. We are a private ambulance service, but we also operate full rescue team. And in the Southern KZN area, there's a very well-established working relationship between NSRI, disaster management, fire and rescue, RTI, the traffic and provincial EMS rescue services. So as soon as we have any sort of incidents like this, a coordinating shock is opened, and all the services bring their resources together and then just mobilize. As reports come in, we prioritize the lives and dispatch teams, various teams. So there'll be medics as well as rescue personnel that will go out and start accessing and rescuing the people, and then obviously the disaster management come in behind that to assist with shelter materials and food and that type of stuff. And then obviously the roads department will come through and try and reopen access to those areas.
Yeah, talk to me about access. I mean, we're seeing footage of roads completely flooded or affected by mudslides, or they've just caved in. I would imagine you use a chopper as well. But talk to me about road access. Which areas have been really difficult to get to?
At this stage, we completely isolated from Durban. We were unable to get through, obviously with what's happening in Preston. We've had a major section of the N2 freeway near eNCA that's washed away. So the southbound carriageway is open, but nobody is able to travel northbound. More of our rural areas are completely cut off at this stage through mudslides and roads that have caved in. Our coastal road has been washed away in about 4 sections, so it's completely impossible. And all the low-lying bridges are completely underwater.
And you're in Port Shepstone, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm thinking of 2019, the flooding then, which was pretty devastating. Were your teams involved in rescue operations there? How does it compare to what's been happening over the last few days?
We were involved with 2019 as well as 2008 floods, which were also quite significant. We've had a lot. It's very similar. However, we were lucky where the disaster management teams did evacuate some of the areas prior to the main rain coming through. So although it's been pretty hectic for the rescue teams, they didn't have as many people to access, which was a great help.
Are you able to give me an estimate? And I know it's really difficult to give me a number, but are you able to give me an estimate of the areas where you've been working? How many people are now homeless?
Honestly, I would say probably well into the thousands. The more rural areas we're still trying to access to really see the extent of devastation in those areas. In the urban areas, we've had a couple of houses that have been, flooded, but are still standing. But I am aware of quite a few structures that have collapsed more inland in the more rural areas.
You know, we're days away from the Easter weekend. KwaZulu-Natal, Durban is an absolute mecca for the Easter weekend. It's a beautiful time of year to be in Durban. Bearing in mind the devastation that you're seeing, do you think there's any way Durban is going to be ready and the areas that you're in, which is south of Durban, is going to be ready for holidaymakers?
I sincerely hope that they would be, but I do see a lot of challenges coming through, particularly with accessing via roads. The amount of infrastructure damage is significant. The mudslides are quick and easy to clear away, but where the roads are washed away, there's no way those are going to be rectified in enough time.
Talk to me about your plan over this evening. Where are you going to be focusing your energy? How much more bad weather are you expecting, or do you think the worst is over on that level?
At this stage, it looks like the worst is over. The rain has definitely abated significantly where we are. At this stage, there's no calls coming through for anybody in any serious danger. So the rescue teams are taking a break. However, obviously the infrastructure teams, the roads departments and that are working tirelessly to get the roads open and the trees cut up and moved off the roads.
So plenty of work still to be done. Thank you so much for that update. Glen Preston is the operations manager for Med-Evac EMS, telling us that he estimates that the people who've lost their homes are in the thousands this evening.